They are not mere cog in the wheel of gig economy, but let's understand they are the kingpin. They need respect and they need care and they need it now.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Gig workers in India, flexibility, fragility, and the road ahead. Hello, and welcome to today's episode where we bring you conversations that matter at the intersection of economy, policy, and the people. I'm your host, Deepika Upadhyay. Today, we turn our focus to a workforce that quietly powers our everyday lives gig workers in India. Whether it's food, delivery, ride hailing, logistics, or digital freelancing, the gig economy has transformed how we live, work, and consume. But while this sector promises flexibility and opportunity, it also raises important concern around job security, social protection, and long term sustainability. To help us unpack these critical questions, I am honored to have with us Dr. Naresh Bana, an expert with deep experience in urban development, infrastructure, and policy framework. In this episode, we will explore the scale of the gig economy, its socio-economic importance, the gap in governance, and the urgent need for structured solutions, including the role of public-private partnerships. Dr. Bana, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Dr. Bana, what is the current scale and status of the gig economy in India?
Deepika ji, as you rightly said, today's topic is very close to all of us. And India's gig economy is now one of the largest and fastest growing in the world. As per Niti Aayog, there were about 77 lakh gig workers in 2021, which has grown to more than a crore now and is likely to be 2.5 crores in next 3 years. So in practical terms, that means close to 1 in every 15 non-agriculture workers may be engaged in gig and platform work by the end of this decade. And that would mean that if there are 4 or 5 members in a family, more than 10 crore people would be dependent on such 2.5 crore gig workers. And this workforce includes delivery boys, riders, app-based taxi drivers, warehouse pickers like for Amazon, home service professionals, and freelance digital workers. Platforms such as Zomato, Swiggy, Blinkit, Zepto, Uber, Ola, and Urban Company have become part of daily life in all the large cities like Delhi, Gurugram, Noida, Mumbai, Bangalore, and Hyderabad, and almost all tier 1, tier 2 cities. The Code on Social Security 2020 has formally acknowledged and recognized gig and platform workers as a distinct category. Registration through e-Shram portals has also started, and recent union budget announcements are bringing them gradually into the social security net also. But that's not enough. This sector is no longer peripheral. It is substantial. It's significant. It's becoming a foundational layer of India's urban economy. Urban life without the gig support appears unthinkable now. Don't you also think so?
Very true, sir, and thank you for setting the context so clearly that gives us a strong foundation to build on. Moving ahead, sir, what are the social and economic importance of the gig economy and what are its core challenges?
Very important. You see, if you draw an analogy, the gig workers are like operating system of modern Indian cities. Like you have uh, Microsoft. They reduce friction to everyday life. They are saving millions of hours for households and businesses. Now you have to just think what you want and it gets delivered. You decide where to go and you can just call for a cab. So a meal arrives in 20 minutes flat. A plumber can be booked instantly. A salon service can be booked online as well. And a cab is available 24/7. This convenience increases productivity across the economy. Yet, the people delivering this efficiency more often than not face difficult conditions. They suffer long working hours, variable earnings due to the algorithm based payment systems, fuel costs, traffic risks, heat, stress, road accidents, and constant performance pressure and customer ratings. The most striking challenge, Deepika ji, is the absence of basic dignity infrastructure. Many workers spend entire day on the road without any access to decent toilet, bathing facilities, safe resting space, or affordable nutritional food. Leave aside the healthcare, which may take away large part of their earnings if they fall sick. Their contribution to GDP and urban productivity is substantial, but their working conditions remain fragile. They are not mere cog in the wheel of gig economy, but let's understand, they are the kingpin. They need respect and they need care and they need it now.
Very true, sir. That really highlights both the value and the vulnerability within the system. Dr. Bana, why are government and municipalities not doing enough to address these challenges which you just now raised?
Deepika ji, in my experience and interaction with city governments or the municipal officials, I have seen that the problem lies in the institutional ambiguity. The gig workers fall between the labor law, urban planning, and digital commerce. You see, they are not employees. So, municipal corporations do not traditionally plan for delivery riders or app based drivers as a dedicated urban workforce. They are not recognized as such, they are recognized as independent contractors. So labor department regulates employment, but since they are termed as independent contractors, so labor department cares very less or not doesn't care. So platforms, whether it is Blinkit or Zepto or Big Basket, they operate nationally, while welfare and city services are the local responsibilities of state and the city governments. And since they are not categorized correctly, they are not unionized, they are not organized, so nobody cares for them. So, because the accountability is not there, there is also a perception that platform work is temporary and self managed. In reality, this workforce now numbers in the millions and performs essential urban functions. Governments are beginning to respond, but not enough. The planning has not yet caught up with the scale and permanence of this new labor force. It may also be due to their vote not being counted in the place they are working in.
Very true.
And let me repeat that, because they don't matter to the local politician. Their home constituency, where they come from, gets them to vote by paying their to and fro fare, which you recently saw in the elections, mostly in Bengal election. All the household people, they all were called and they were paid some freebies or goodies and they voted. And those people from their home constituencies, they let them go anywhere in the country to be exploited. They don't care. Now that's not fair. Deepika ji, on the ground level, the situation is grim. And if not addressed on priority, it may lead to catastrophic outcomes which may have long-term consequences for the country.
That's an important perspective and the governance gap we often overlook. Sir, continuing my question, I would like to know what could be the long term impacts of gig workers if they continue to remain unprotected.
Deepika ji, let me share with you that if India neglects this workforce, the consequences, as I mentioned, will be both economic and social, which will have echo at national level. Long hours of work, poor nutrition, sleep deprivation, and lack of preventive health care can lead to chronic disease, mental stress, and reduced productivity. While the energy and good health of the youth of this country is being harvested by the platform based enterprise, if not cared for, these youth will suffer, and in taking their care, their families may face debt and instability. And overall, public health system will eventually bear the cost. As such, the demographic dividend may not last forever, and it's going to result in large unproductive workforce which may become a threat to democracy, as these unhealthy and not so good minds will be easier to sway by unscrupulous politicians. See, when a large population of young workforce feels excluded from the promise of growth, they are going to feel alienated, exploited, and become easy target for even anti-national forces. In economic terms, the demographic dividend is likely to become a demographic liability. Simply put, millions of hardworking citizens may feel that the system values their labor but not their well-being.
That certainly underlines the urgency of addressing these issues sooner, sir, rather than later.
Yes.
So, moving ahead of the issues that we had just discussed, what kind of infrastructure is needed and how can it meaningfully improve their quality of life?
Deepika ji, the answer is practical and achievable. You can have something like a gig worker urban support center, and these facilities may be located near metro stations, transport interchanges, market clusters, fuel stations, the platform warehouses, delivery centers, and logistics hubs. You may have seen, if you had come across any delivery center or Amazon warehouse, these people are flocking around that place on the road, uncovered, and out in the open for the vagaries of the weather. So each center must provide clean toilets, drinking water, shower, lockers, rest pods, charging points, affordable healthy meals, telemedicine and medical aid post, counseling, common service centers where they can do up their other documentation and registrations, and skill development services. In larger cities, even dormitory accommodation must be added for migrant workers. Then there should be provision for their discounted travel to their home periodically. This is not luxury infrastructure or support, it's a basic urban welfare. Just as cities build bus terminals and public hospitals, they must now create service hub for workforce that sustains this city 24 by 7 in terms of the urban conveniences. The parents of these workers must not feel that their wards are living in challenging circumstances, but the conditions should be so conducive that it attracts youth to initially take up such jobs, support their skill development, and do even better in their life. See, much of it can be done through public private partnership, which has matured to quite an extent in India.
Those are practical insights that could truly make a difference on the ground. I hope the government is hearing us out. So, public private partnerships are often seen as solution. How can PPP projects in this space be made bankable and remunerative?
Deepika ji, actually speaking, public-private partnerships are ideally suited for this purpose and to do up at the scale which is required. Cities and municipal bodies which hold land can provide land, planning approvals, and utility connections. Private developers can design, build, finance, and operate and maintain the centers. Demand is high, as I said. Today they are 1 crore, and in next 3 years they are going to be 2.5 times. So the user base is there and it is recurring. So revenue can come from platform subscriptions, nominal membership fees, advertising, food courts, pharmacy, kiosks, ATM services, co-working desks, CSR contributions, and if still fall short, as annuity from the city governments. To start with, where necessary, governments can provide viability gap funding during the initial years. This creates a socially important asset with stable cash flows and measurable impact. Leaving youth to fend for themselves is neither serving them well nor adding to the overall economic growth and sustenance of the country. India will do well if gig workers are not treated as slaves to algorithm and platform operators. They are young people who are future of this country and they need to be taken care of. Today, country has the wherewithal in terms of funds, planning and technology. Only decision is needed. So let's have the right policy. Let's do it.
Well, that's a valuable way to look at making these models both sustainable and impactful. So, finally, why is it important to prioritize the welfare of gig workers today?
Deepika ji, as I have said before, just because these workers are not duly employed doesn't mean that they are mere statistics. They are young citizens building India and India's urban future. Their health, financial resilience, and social inclusion is going to shape the productivity of our cities and the stability of our society. Gig workers are going to be there, and it's high time they get their due share in the growth. If we invest in them today, we create healthier families, stronger communities, and more resilient democratic institutions. If we ignore, we will face rising healthcare costs, social discontent, and lost economic potential. So, supporting gig workers is therefore not charity. It's an investment in nation building which cannot wait any longer.
Well, it's a powerful reminder of why these issues deserve immediate attention. Thank you, Dr. Bana, for those insightful perspectives and for helping us better understand both the opportunities and the vulnerabilities within India's gig economy. As we conclude, it is important to remember that the convenience of modern city life rests on the shoulders of millions of gig workers. They are not just service providers, they are essential contributors to our economy. They deserve dignity, safety, healthcare as our gig workers and opportunities of growth. Thank you for listening to our listeners. If you find this conversation meaningful, do share it and be part of the dialogue for a more inclusive future. Until next time, this is Deepika Upadhyay signing off. Namaste.
Namaste.